It's the middle of the night, and somewhere on a shortwave dial between the static and the noise, a signal cuts through.
4 notes, repeated. A haunting little melody that has no business being on the radio at 3 in the morning.
Then a voice. Flat, flat, emotionless. A woman reading number doc.
No greeting, no explanation, just numbers broadcast to no one pond and to everyone. Because somewhere out there, one person is listening. One person is writing this down.
And this message, whatever it means, was built for him alone. This is a numbers station. And for the better part of a century, broadcasts exactly like this one have been crackling across the shortwave spectrum, heard by anyone with a cheap radio. Number stations follow a strange, rigid ritual. Then the voice arrives, reading strings of numbers, letters, or phonetic words in the same clipped, mechanical cadence. Then the voice arrives, reading strings of numbers, letters, or phonetic words in the same clipped, mechanical cadence.
And then, as abruptly as it began, it stops. No sign-off. No explanation.
Just silence until the next scheduled transmission.
And here's the part that should feel like a contradiction, but isn't. This is one of the most public things a spy agency can do, a pruddy, and one of the most private. Anyone can hear it. Nobody can trace it. And that combination is exactly what made it so effective. To understand why, you have to go back to the Cold War, when intelligence services on both sides of the Iron Curtain needed. Shortwave radio solved almost every problem at once. It was cheap. Reception required nothing more than an ordinary radio, the kind you could buy in any shop without raising suspicion. It worked across enormous distances, from a transmitter in one country to an agent in another, sometimes on the opposite side of the planet. And most importantly, it was completely anonymous to receive. There is no way, even today, to know who is listening to a radio broadcast. A spy in a hotel room and a curious teenager twiddling a dial were, to any outside observer, doing exactly the same thing. But the real genius wasn't the radio. It was what happened after the numbers were written down. The presumed method behind almost every number station is something called a one-time pad, a set of truly random numbers, printed on a small pad of paper.
When a broadcast number sequence is matched against the correct page of that pad, digit by digit, it transforms from meaningless noise into a plain language message.
And used correctly, meaning every page is used exactly once and then destroyed prone, a one-time pad is not just hard to break. It is, mathematically, unbreakable.
No computer, no supercomputer, no future technology can crack a properly used one-time pad, because the numbers being, which means this strange, almost quaint-sounding broadcast, a stranger's voice reading numbers over shortwave, wasn't some clumsy backup system. It was, for decades, the gold standard of secure communication. Elite tradecraft, disguised as noise. Some stations became infamous. The Lincolnshire Poacher, widely attributed to British intelligence, opened every transmission with a few bars of the English folk song of the same name, before shifting into It broadcast for decades from a suspected relay believed to be based on Cyprus, and then, one day, it simply stopped.
And then there's UVB-76, nicknamed the Buzzer.
It is still broadcasting right now. Nobody officially explains why.
For most of history, all of this lived in the realm of educated guesswork, hobbyists and analysts piecing together patterns, but never proof.
Then, proof arrived, pat. Not from a government confession, but from a courtroom.
In prosecutions connected to Cuban intelligence operations in the United States, decoded number station messages and physical one-time.
For the first time, the theory had a paper trail. The eerie voices on shortwave weren't folklore.
They were operational. And still, no formal confirmation followed. No agency issued a statement.
No station was ever officially claimed.
The silence itself became the point course, plausible deniability, built into the very architecture of the broadcast.
Which brings us back to tonight.
To that same buzzing frequency, still transmitting. Decades after the Cold War it was born into, has ended.
But somewhere out there, a radio is tuned to the right frequency. A pen is resting against a notepad. And when the numbers start, someone is still writing them down.